Okay, Alicia, if you want to get started.
All right. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us for our webinar, Tracking Your Professional Learning. I am Alisha Thomas, and I'm here with Paige Parker. We are both part of the training and implementation team here at eduphoria. Um, just a couple of things before we get started. If you have any questions during this session, please use the Q&A window below, and we will address those questions. If after this webinar you have additional questions, please email us at training@eduphoria.net. Let's take a quick look at our objectives today and what we hope to or what we intend to accomplish. Today, we're going to evaluate professional learning needs as a teacher. We're also going to demonstrate the use of a portfolio from teacher and principal perspectives. And then also, we're going to use Strive tools to navigate professional learning. First, let's discuss the professional learning portfolio and why it is relevant. The professional learning portfolio is instrumental in capturing the course history and certification status of educators. Teachers are going to want to refer to their portfolio periodically to keep track of credit earned on courses, while administrators or your appraisers are going to want to periodically view teacher portfolios as an accountability tool to ensure teachers are attending courses that will support their professional learning needs. So at the beginning of the year, or you may want to start thinking about how frequent you're going to look at your portfolio, maybe add it to a calendar to make sure that that's something that you are going back to and referring to. So let's go ahead and take a look at our professional learning cycle as a whole. All right. So this model here provides us a visual representation of the cycle of professional learning during the course of a school year. So it starts with an assessment of your learning needs as a teacher. This can be determined a variety of ways. One is through viewing your appraisal data that you have, conversations with your appraiser, and even assessing student data as well. So this should not be done in isolation. Definitely include your principals or your instructional coaches in that conversation when you're assessing your learning needs. This is a great way to ensure that you are on the right path when we're moving to the next step. Which is writing your goals. So when writing your goals, it's important, to have a relevant SMART goal and determine action steps towards achieving those goals. Then next, we kind of shift into a teacher finding courses to support his or her goal achievement. In our last stages of the cycle, a teacher both attends the course and then also applies the new learning in their teaching practice. Again, the principal or instructional coach in these last steps are vital. They're going to be there with you to support their teacher in the application of their new learning in the new classroom and supporting and capturing evidence towards that. So our tools and Strive supports all of these steps in the professional learning process, and we're going to take some glimpses of that today. Now, Paige is going to discuss how a teacher can determine what professional learning he or she needs.
Great. Thank you, Alicia. So as Alicia mentioned, there are lots of different things to consider when you're determining what professional development or professional learning you want to pursue. One thing to look at would be your appraisal results. What dimensions were your ratings surprising? Maybe they were surprisingly low or surprisingly high, but that might help you to determine where your area of needs are. And also your student growth results. Did your student growth goal result in the growth for your students that you anticipated? And if not, are there some things that you wish you had done differently? If you found that in your reflections that you could answer that question about things you wished you had done differently or how you would have extended it, maybe that's an area for professional learning. Also, what were the goal conversations that you had both with instructional coaches, with other teachers, with your appraiser as you were working on your professional goals this past year, and also as you're looking forward to professional goals for the coming year, and also about your student growth goals or student learning objectives. What were those student learning objective conversations, and did you struggle with any of the steps that you put in there? If so, maybe that's an area for professional learning. And then finally, what lesson reflections did you have throughout the year? Did you have a lesson where, at the end of the day, you thought, well, that didn't really go as planned? Maybe there's something there that you could look at and determine that there's a professional learning need, or maybe there was something that you wanted to be able to do differently with the lesson, but you really just didn't have the guidance that you needed. Those are all things that you can reflect on and think about as you're determining what your professional learning needs are. But as Alisha mentioned earlier, especially as you're having those end of the year conversations and talking about what your goals are going to be for next year, that's a really good time to be planning what you're going to do with professional learning. The next step is finding that professional learning. So once you've determined what you want, you can go into Strive to find some of those learning opportunities. And I'm going to jump into the system as a teacher. And the default, of course, for teachers is on the evaluation process. But over on the left-hand side, we also have 3 buttons here that relate to the professional learning piece. The first thing I'm going to do today is go into the course catalog. And this is where I would search for professional learning to meet the needs that I have just identified. And I can search in a couple of different ways. If I am a math teacher, I could come over here and type math as a keyword, and oh no, my district has not posted any professional learning yet for me coming up in the future on math. So maybe I also teach science. I could do a keyword search on science, and you'll notice as I start to fill in the word, it filters down and finds any sessions that meet that criteria. So it did find me one on elementary science. And if that's something that I'm interested in, I've identified one already. I can also sort or search by credit type. So these are the credit types that my district offers. If I am a GT teacher and I need to get my update hours this summer, I can click on that and see what is being offered in my district that will give me those GT update hours. Luckily for me, it also happens to be science, which I was looking for earlier, so that might be a 2 birds with 1 stone. Some districts offer some specific certificates, so you might see that in a credit type, but whatever credit types your district offers, those will be there. You'll notice that SPEC credit is not there, and that's the state credit type, and that's because it's a default. All of your professional development should be set up to give you SPEC credit. That'll give you your hours toward recertification. What these credit types are going to show you are those additional things that you might look for. And in addition to credits, one area where you might find even more options would be under categories. It only shows the categories that are currently offering sessions. So in my district, I have a lot more categories set up than this. Like in elementary 4 core, math, social studies, and language arts are also there. And I also have a secondary 4 core, but I don't have any courses created yet for my district, so they're not showing up as options. But I could narrow it down to just science like I did before, or maybe I need some technology training. I can click on that and find the courses that are being offered in my district in that area. So categories also gives you some other areas that you can search for. If you couldn't think of, maybe you couldn't think of the right keyword to find what you were looking for, but when you come down here, you say, oh yeah, evaluation process is what I was needing because I wanted something about goal writing. So you might click on that one and see if there are any sessions there. One of my favorite options is that you can search by framework. So I can come down here and select the T-test framework. And if, for example, my goal that I have set for myself for next year involves activities, dimension 1.4, I can click there and see that there are 2 courses that are being offered in my district that address that particular dimension. So this is going to help me tie those goals into my professional development because I can actually find professional learning that will help me address those goals, that will be very specific to what I'm looking for. Once I have identified a course that I want to take based on my searches, I can come over here and see what kind of course it is. This one is an online course. It's what we call an eCourse. I can tell because it has the icon of the computer. And this one up above it, which I'm already signed up for, is a face-to-face course. It has a chair as the icon, so I know it's a standard course. If I know that I can't go and take a standard course, maybe I don't have childcare or anything, one of my other options is to search by course type. And I could say, just show me the e-courses. Just show me the ones that I can take online. And that's another way that I can narrow it down and find the things that I'm looking for. Once I find one, again, I'm just going to click on the enroll button. It asks me if I'm sure I want to enroll, and I say yes, enroll again, and then close. And now when I go over to my professional learning, I can see here that I'm enrolled because my only option is to unenroll. But when I go to my professional learning, I'm out of the catalog and I'm looking at just the courses that I am currently enrolled in. So I just added this digital citizenship course, but I'm also enrolled in an eCourse on instructional strategies. I'm enrolled in a science face-to-face course that's going to happen in May, and I'm enrolled in an instructional technology academy that's going to happen face-to-face in May also. So those are the things that I'm currently signed up for. I can look up at the top and see what I have already completed this year by clicking on my completed courses. So these are things that I took during this instructional year, and it will tell me if I earned credit. For example, I've earned credit on several of these, but there's one up here I was denied credit. So apparently I signed up for this course, but I didn't go, I did not attend, and so I was denied credit. I can see everything that happened with my professional development throughout the year under completed courses. And then the final place that I can go is my portfolio, and that will show me all of the professional development that I've had throughout the time that I have been with this district in eduphoria. So I can see 1 year at a time. If I collapse this year, I'll be able to see that there are past years in my history, and I'll always have that history of all the professional development that I took during that particular year. It'll give me a summary at the top of the total number of hours that I got. I got 33 hours of SBEC credit, but it's broken down into 3 of those were as an instructor, 6 were for GT, and 2 were for annual compliance. But my total for the year is going to be what this SBEC number is. And then I'll also see the individual courses and what the status was on those. So that's how I'm going to find my professional development and sign up for those courses. If I go back to my professional learning, to my enrolled courses, how am I going to know what to do on the day that I show up for that course? If I am taking an eCourse, then I'm going to click on that course and look at the course details. This is one I don't have to show up at a specific time. I can take this course anytime I want to, but I do need to come here to the course details, click on course content, and this is where the information is going to be. I was here before and I finished chapter 1, moved on to chapter 2, but I have not completed chapter 2. I can tell that because I still have the pencil, which means there's work still to be done. And I haven't gone to chapter 3 yet because there's not an icon there at all. So I would want to go back into chapter 2, and it's going to show me what my content is. Over on the left-hand side, I have several different topics that I'm going to look at in this chapter. I have a video that I need to watch, and then I will use these arrows up at the top to navigate. It's important that you use the blue arrows because that's how the course knows that you have seen all the screens, and it will give you credit for having completed that chapter. So I would move my way through each of the elements of the chapter, watching the videos, going out and visiting whatever links are there for me, reading whatever content is there, and then when I'm finished with what's on this page, I will move forward by using that blue arrow. In addition to the course content, I also have a place for instructor notes and discussions. If my instructor has chosen to post handouts, they can put files out here for me, and they can also put notes in there. So I always want to check and see if the instructor has added anything there that I'm supposed to add to. And then one of the activities of the course might be to contribute to a discussion. So my instructor may have added a thread that I need to respond to as part of that coursework. So all of those things are there in course details, and I get to them just by clicking on the course. If I go to a face-to-face course, I still have course details, but I don't have the tab for course content because this is not an online course. I will get the content when I actually go and show up in the room. It does give me the meeting time, so the screen looks just a little bit different, but I still have a place for instructor notes if my instructor has posted anything out there for me, or files. So I want to check that and make sure they may have given me some reading material to complete before I get to the course. I also have a place where I can take my own notes about the course. I can make a list of questions, things that I want to know when I get there, or I can upload something if I'm asked. If they say bring a lesson plan, I could upload that lesson plan here. I also have the discussion board in a face-to-face course. Sometimes these are used during course time. Sometimes it's a pre-question. Sometimes it's a post-question that they'll ask you to post to the discussion board. But I do have that to check out. And then at the end of the course, if a survey is required, this tab is where I will go to do it. Now, this course doesn't happen until May, so my survey is not available yet. But after the course is completed or after I've finished it, the time has elapsed, then that survey will be open and I'll come to this tab to complete the survey. If a survey is required for a course, I won't get my credit until I complete that survey. So I want to make sure everybody knows where to go to get that information. I'm going to come over here to my left-hand side, and we had looked at the course catalog earlier. This time I'm going to go to conferences, and I can see that my district does have an upcoming conference. And so I'm going to click on that, and I can see all of the sessions that are offered. It's a week-long conference, so I can scroll down and see each day and what's being offered. I can also search by using these tracks or filters over here. I can see what are they doing with eduphoria products. Well, I can see there's a lesson planner session, there's some aware sessions, so I can use those to scroll and look for things. The first thing that I need to do is register for the conference as a whole. And once I have registered for the conference, then I can come over here and register for a specific session. So if I decide this is a session I want to attend, I can enroll for that session. So I'm going to build my conference calendar based on the sessions that I sign up for. And you can see that I've enrolled in this one. I have not enrolled in that one, but I have to register for the conference as a whole first before I can sign up for the individual sessions. So that's another way that you can find opportunities. If your district is offering something in the conference format, that's another place to look there. And thank you, Joel, for that reminder. So sometimes you take professional learning or professional development courses outside your district. You might go to your local service center and get some professional development there. You might go to a conference that should count as professional learning, or you might go to take a university course. How can you get credit for that in Strive? That's easy. I'm going to go back to my professional learning tab and back to my portfolio. And when I click on my portfolio, down at the bottom, there is a button that says add a new portfolio entry. And so I would come here and say what type of entry I want to add. If it's an outside workshop or conference, that would be like something at the service center or something at a conference that I went to, or an online course that I took through some other vendor that I want to get credit for. There's also a college course on here. So I may have taken just a workshop at a university. That would be different from if I'm asking for professional learning credit for a university course. And then there's also the option of requesting a professional development level. If your district has those set up and you have completed the level, then you'll come here and request it. I'm just going to say this is an outside workshop or conference and click next. I'm going to type in and say it was bullying info, and I'm going to say it was at ESC4 because that's the one closest to me. And I took this course earlier in April, and it was from 8 to 4. I'll click next. So I am asking for 6 hours of SBEC credit. Now, if this was also GT, I could put hours in there as well, but I want the total number of hours for the course to show up here. I could explain why I should get credit here. Especially if I'm asking for GT update hours, I want to make sure that I explain what was covered that would count as GT, but I could put any information in there that I want to about that particular request. Then I'm going to come to my framework and I'm going to say, definitely it's professional development because everything that I do that's professional development should give me that credit. But then I'm also going to say that because this was bullying, it might be managing student behavior, and I might consider it to be part of classroom culture. So if those are the things that I think were covered in the session, then I'm going to ask for credit in those 3 areas. Click my next button. My district may or may not have goals set up. If they do, I can add those goals here. And then finally, I have a place where I can upload attachments. So if I received a certificate, I can scan it, take a picture of it, whatever I want to do, and I can attach that file, write a description of it, and submit that as well. And then I'll click my next button, and it tells me that my request was submitted. And when I go to my portfolio summary, it should show me, there it is right there, bullying info. I took it on April 6th. It is pending approval. So there is a process in my district set up where either my principal or my professional development administrator will have to go in and approve that credit that I just requested. So that's going to give you a way to get credit for all of the things that you have taken during the year, whether they were in your district or not. And then as part of that cycle that Alisha explained earlier, we want to connect that learning back to the goals. So I'm going to go back into my system, but I'm going to go to my evaluation process, and I'm going to look at my professional goal. And so I have my goal here that I'm going to implement a variety of learning strategies. One of the things that I can do is come down and click on Add Evidence and select Workshop Portfolio Entry as the type. There are 4 types. I can write some text, some anecdotal evidence that relates to my goal. I can upload a file that shows something that I did, a lesson plan or a picture of my kids working. I can link to my teacher website if it has evidence that's relevant. But if I just click on Workshop Portfolio, my district is using the Strive professional development piece. And so all of the courses that I have taken this year are listed here for me to choose from. I've been very busy. And I can click on Instructional Strategies. And then I'm going to want to click on this Add a Description button and reflect. So I'm going to reflect on what I learned and how I used it in my classroom. So how is it relevant to this goal? How is it helping me accomplish this goal? I'm going to reflect on that in the description section, and then I'm going to click the upload button. And so that evidence is there. It's dated. It tells me that I'm the teacher, and I'm the one who submitted that evidence. My administrator, by the way, can also submit evidence. So if they observe something during a walkthrough, they can put it in there. But this is something that I chose. It's a portfolio entry. It tells me the name of the course and shows my reflections. And my administrator, my appraiser, can see that information as well. And now Alisha is going to talk a little bit about the end of the year tasks.
Great, thank you so much. So yes, at the end of the year, it's important that teachers print their portfolio. It's just something for them to have as a part of their personal record of the courses and everything that they have taken over the last few years. The next thing is we always often get a question about what happens if I, as a teacher, move to a different district. Or is my data in my portfolio lost? And no, what you can do is request that your district eduphoria administrator provides you the portfolio file for you to take to your next district. And I'm going to share my screen real quick to kind of show you that. Paige, you mind sharing? Let me share that.
So I went into workshop settings and I'm logged in as an administrator. So principals and end users don't have the ability to do this, but the administrators will. And I'm going to go to staff management, and then I'm going to view portfolios, and I'm going to find somebody. So that there's the whole portfolio. And then I can print from this point, which the teachers also, when they're viewing their portfolio, they have the print button. But as an administrator, I can also come over here to portfolio transfer and create an export file. And this will be just a little file that can be emailed to the user, and they can take it to their new district if they know that they're transferring.
Great. Thank you. Great. Thank you. And then the last thing that you're going to want to do, in addition to if you're transferring to have your eduphoria, your portfolio file with you, is to start viewing what summer PD that you're going to want to take. You can look in your course catalog here in Strive, or you can also start looking outside if there's something that your district does not offer that you would like to take. You now know how to request credit for that, so you can start planning summer PD at the end of the year. So help is available for you. There are multiple ways that we provide help outside of our webinars. One way you probably saw is our Eddie Helps here. You'll see a question mark right there that's Paige is demonstrating. If there's something that let's say for instance, I need to know how to access my portfolio, you can type that in there and it's going to provide you step by step to guide you into doing that. And she's demonstrating that for us. You can see all the articles and steps along with that. And then in addition to that, we have our help desk articles that are a huge support to teachers and staff and administrators that are using that. If you want to go to one of those links so they can see that. And our help desk articles are based on topics. So if you have a specific topic such as not only Strive, but Aware, Forethought, but let's go into Strive there. You'll see that there's different tasks for teachers that you can use, such as writing your goals, accessing, of course, your portfolio, requesting professional learning credit for outside courses. All that is here for you to be able to access. Is going to give you step by step on there. In addition to that, we also have updates that we frequently send out. We definitely want you to stay connected with us so you can sign up to receive those updates, but also check out our social media. Our Instagram, our YouTube has a wealth of videos that are from previous webinars, from lunch and learns that we also do. So definitely check out our YouTube for that additional, if you would like to see some of our old webinars uploaded on there. And then, of course, if we also would love to do trainings one-on-one with you guys or with your school. So go to training@eduphoria.net to send us an email or any questions or to request additional training for that. And Paige, we do have some upcoming webinars coming up in May. So we have our All Apps Except Aware end of year task. This is Wednesday, May 26th. And then we also have an Aware One end of year task that's coming up on June 2nd. So definitely want to invite you out to log on and access that with our webinars.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time.